Step up and deliver the superior experience that today's consumers have come to expect. DealerTrack DMS gives you the tools to improve workflow efficiency, reduce in-dealership time, and put the focus on your customers so your sales team and your entire dealership shine.
Welcome to Daily Drive for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. I'm Kellen Walker in Las Vegas. Today on the show, suppliers expect a tough 6 months ahead. Honda taps a Silicon Valley startup for self-driving software, and Hertz partners with Amazon Autos to sell used vehicles online. Plus, the head of Maserati North America, Andrea Soriani, talks about challenges and opportunities for the brand in an uncertain trade environment.
We play according to the news we get on the market, trying to be nimble. We hope on some good news.
Let's run through all the news you need to know to keep up in the auto industry. Suppliers are more pessimistic about their company's overall performance than automakers and dealers. Supplier professionals also have lower expectations about how their companies will perform and how the auto sector will fare over the next 6 months. That's according to Automotive News' first ever Auto Industry Confidence Index. About 47% of suppliers said they would rate their company's current performance as excellent or good, compared with 56% of dealers and 61% of automakers. Honda has signed a multi-year agreement to work with a U.S. AI startup to develop self-driving technology. The Japanese automaker and California-based Helm AI will collaborate on producing advanced driver assistance systems for Honda's mass-market vehicles by 2027. They did not give a value or duration of the contract in their statement. And Hertz Global Holdings says its car sales unit will partner with Amazon to sell used vehicles. The collaboration builds on Amazon Auto's recent expansion into used vehicle sales. Hertz and Amazon will start offering their service within 75 miles of Dallas, Houston, Los Angeles, and Seattle. They plan to expand to Hertz car sales 45 locations across the U.S. And those are today's headlines. You can find more details on all those stories at autonews.com. Joining me now to talk about how parts makers are feeling in this time of uncertainty is our own John Irwin, who covers the automotive supply chain for us at Automotive News. John, welcome back to Daily Drive.
Thanks for having me back.
So we recently talked about how suppliers seem to be weathering the tariff storm well so far. Most had higher than expected earnings results in the second quarter. Why are they more concerned than automakers and dealers?
Yeah, it's interesting because suppliers, like you said, have really done a little bit better, I think, overall than maybe they were anticipating a few months ago. But there are a few issues that kind of stand out moving forward for them, maybe even a little bit more than automakers and dealers. First of all, you kind of have to zoom out a little bit and look at the broader context of the last several years. Suppliers, really during COVID and then through the semiconductor shortages, inflation, everything else, their bottom lines were really impacted and affected, maybe to a greater degree than automakers and dealers were. Supplier margins really shrunk during that time. So they're coming off of a period like that where already they were dealing with balance sheets that weren't quite where they wanted. And now when we look at tariffs, while yes, they've been relatively successful in pushing tariff costs, from themselves up the supply chain all the way to automakers, the devil's always in the details. And what I mean by that is that for a lot of suppliers, depending on how the contracts are written and who's actually doing the importing and exporting, a lot of them are still having to pay the tariff up front when they move the part across the border. And because of that, there might be some cash flow issues, even if, they have a deal with their automaker or their customer to, get that money back eventually. That might not happen for weeks or months. And so that kind of leaves them in a state where there might be some, cash flow worries and that sort of thing. And then on top of that, there's electrification and a lot of the investments that they've made in that space. Maybe a few years ago, suppliers putting a lot of money to help support a lot of new EV programs that automakers were looking for. A lot of those, the return on investment hasn't quite been there for a lot of these programs, just because sales haven't quite been where a lot of automakers were thinking. And because of that, suppliers are kind of left with a lot of stranded capital. Moving forward, that's something that they're really worried about, whether that's making investments in the U.S. because automakers are looking to get around tariffs. Suppliers want to make sure that those commitments are for the long haul and not something that, a few years from now, if tariffs are, scaled back, that automakers might move back from or what have you. Or if all of a sudden a few years from now, EV demand really takes off and, they just shift it back to making investments in ICE vehicles. They don't want to be left holding the bag. So there's a lot going on that makes suppliers maybe a little bit more pessimistic, I guess, relative to automakers and dealers when it comes to their outlook over the next several months.
And what kinds of anecdotal stories did you hear from sources that you spoke with for this story?
Yeah, there were a lot of interesting things that suppliers who I reached out to had to say. One executive who I spoke with, he runs a large tier one supplier, and he basically was saying, things have been frozen for the last several months. Their customers, aren't making the major investment decisions that maybe they would have otherwise, at least not to the same extent. And so that's sort of left everyone else sort of waiting for some sort of long-term clarity on trade, EV plans, everything else. So because of that, everyone's just kind of stuck sitting around, and that has long-term effects. This executive basically said this is something that has caused him more existential dread, essentially, for his company and for the auto industry in general than even COVID, the 08-09 bankruptcies and the recession. And that's because, if you're just kind of sitting around waiting, not making the investments, you're not necessarily winning new business, first of all, in the short term. And then long term, there's worry about, if everyone's just kind of not making those investments in advanced technologies, maybe to the same degree, because you're not sure where things are going to end up, that you might fall behind globally, competitively, whether it's with Chinese automakers or other competitors globally. So that was something that I heard from a few suppliers that are saying, even if we're kind of weathering this short term, there are a lot of long-term concerns about where the auto industry, especially in North America, is going to end up. And there's a kind of a wide range of potential scenarios and how things could play out, but a lot of them are worried about the more, pessimistic, I guess, side of things where, maybe things, if you're just sitting around for 12, 18 months, not able to make decisions, you really fall behind. And that gap, which already might be there when it comes to, your technology and, vis-a-vis China, that might be hard to make up that gap moving forward. So that's a big concern. At the same time, a lot of companies are still, keeping their heads down, just trying to get through day to day. And like we've talked about before, they've done a decent job of at least doing that. So it's interesting times for the supply chain as always.
Perfect. John, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks so much.
You can find all of our coverage of the Auto Industry Confidence Index at autonews.com. Coming up, Maserati North America General Manager Andrea Soriani joins the show. That's next on Daily Drive.
Consumers have high expectations of the car buying experience. 88% of consumers said their experience matters as much as the company's products or services. And with low inventory, high prices, and high interest rates, you have the opportunity to step up and deliver a positive buying experience that helps consumers overcome their frustrations and feel good about their purchase decisions. Your DMS is a data powerhouse and must be well integrated across your dealership. DealerTrack DMS is proven to seamlessly connect your operations and reduce manual data entry by pre-filling forms so consumers spend less time at your dealership. DealerTrack DMS is also key to helping you track, optimize, and improve the performance of your entire team. With actionable data insights from streamlined reports and metrics, you can find new opportunities for growth and unlock important process and profitability improvements. Because DealerTrack is flexible and easy to use, your team spends less time rekeying data and memorizing codes and more time delivering the next level customer experience your dealership prides itself on. Bottom line, DealerTrack DMS improves workflow efficiency and puts the focus on your customers so your sales team and your entire dealership shine. See how you can unlock better experiences and improve your entire operation with DealerTrack DMS.
Daily Drive listeners like you have access to the lowest price for Automotive News Congress 2025 on September 11th.
The event is where the industry's biggest players tackle its toughest challenges. Congress attendees don't just follow the industry, they lead it.
This year's featured speakers include Hyundai Motor Group Executive Chair Yu-Sung Chung, Asbury Automotive CEO David Holt, and General Motors CEO Mary Barra.
We are investing in America. We're creating jobs. That's creating IP in this country. And I think, the United States needs to lead in key technologies.
Join us to gain the insights and connections needed to steer your business through massive change.
To get the lowest price for the event, go to autonews.com/events, select Auto News Congress, and type in the discount code DailyDrive. That's one word, all caps, Daily Drive. And we'll see you on September 11th in Detroit.
Welcome back to Daily Drive. I'm Kellen Walker. Of Stellantis' 14 brands, Maserati might have the most uncertain future here in North America. In June, Reuters reported that the automaker was considering a sale of its luxury brand. Stellantis responded, quote, "Respectfully, Maserati is not for sale." So where does that leave the brand? Our own Kali Schaffner caught up with Maserati North America chief Andrea Soriani at Monterey Car Week in California. Here's their conversation.
What are your powertrain plans moving forward?
So Maserati made it clear that we will continue producing ICE internal combustion engines as long as there is demand, which we think there is going to be demand for a long time. But for the same token, all our range except for the MC Pura and the G22 Stradale is available with the Folgore version. Folgore is our EV version. So if a client is looking for an electric vehicle, we can definitely deliver the electric version, but we will continue offering petrol engine cars for the foreseeable future. We are not going all electric, or we are not going all petrol, the same token.
Okay, so a balance there.
Total.
Okay.
And we are actually not even forcing dealers right now, or clients, to a certain quota of electric vehicles. We will fill the natural demands of electric vehicles.
Okay. And so the initial plan, it sounds like, was to go all electric by 2028, but that is now no longer. That's very soon. So
That's correct. I think a lot of companies went on electric plans for the future, depending on market rules, regulation. But I think at the end, the market is spoken, and we need to make sure that we have the right products for the clients. And again, you see a mix of demand, so we will keep producing both versions. And actually, the best part is that if you have a Grecale or a Gran Turismo Gran Cabrio, the electric version looks exactly like the internal combustion engine. So you don't have to compromise on design or to choose a different design, because you can have the powertrain you like. This is, I think, very important.
right, absolutely. And kind of touching on that, what is your outlook for the U.S. market?
That's complicated. I think we live in a time of high uncertainty. We got different news every day on the global economy. It's a very tough political environment globally. There are a lot of disruption in the supply chain. Still, there is some uncertainty around the tariffs. So it's not easy to predict the future right now. What we try to do is to be nimble, is to be ready to adjust, because I think the name of the game now is to manage the uncertainty. Because, if you know what is happening, you can plan accordingly. With uncertainty, you need to be nimble and fast to react to the changes, protecting the value of the brand and your consumers.
Absolutely. What are some of the things that you're working on in the U.S. market that you can build upon?
Well, first of all, is our dealer body. Is strengthening the relationship with our dealer body, making sure that we support them in the right way. And this is very important because they are my first clients. Second, we are working on the terms of marketing and getting more experiential activities, more activations. We just done a very successful event at Cota where we had our entire range. We brought the MC Extrema. We will be in Mont Tremblant. Soon we'll be in Toronto. We will be down in Miami. Because at the end, it's all about driving. I know that sounds cliche, So our goal is, along with our dealers, to have more and more people experiencing Maserati. And then in the mid-term, with our HQ, we are working on a new range of products, and we hope to have some exciting news very soon.
Okay, that's good to know. And touching on the dealers, how many U.S. dealerships do you have now?
US, North America is 103.
Okay.
If you want US precisely, get Jeremy.
Okay. TBD.
I can get
We'll
No,
okay.
because we just made a couple of changes of opening and closing, so I want to make sure I give you
The most accurate
Yeah.
number. Okay, I appreciate that.
I can give you the accurate number because we closed a couple of dealers in minor markets, but you just opened another one.
Okay.
And I want to make sure that, dealers can be very sensitive. I don't want to get anybody upset.
Absolutely. Do you want more stores? I mean, judging by the North American number, is that number just right?
I think we have 91 in the U.S., 12 in Canada.
Okay. 91 in the U.S., 12 in Canada. Okay. So knowing that, then, is that the right number for Maserati?
We don't have a preset number.
Okay.
As long as we have a dealer in all the right markets. And pretty much, it's not that we are saying, we must have 100, 110 dealers. You must have all the right markets served in the right way. And that's going to be the name of the game.
Okay, absolutely. Are there any trends in the luxury market that you want to capitalize on?
There are a lot of trends in the luxury markets. The automotive industry, unfortunately, because of the nature of the business and the product, sometimes takes time to adjust. Definitely, luxury is continuing the trend of going digital, which was counterintuitive years ago. Till a lot of our clients, they begin the journey online.
Okay.
The showroom experience, driving the car is still fundamental. Luxury is about, it's about the experience. At Maserati is all about emotions. So, Maserati is a multi-sensory experience. In the design, start with your eyes, then you touch the leather, you have the smell of the leather, the sound of the engine. So this is something that our clients appreciate. It's something that came a long way in luxury. What we see is more and more customization. Doesn't mean going to extreme one-off, but everybody likes something a little bit unique. And definitely, we have just relaunched our Officine Fuori Serie program, which is the customization program.
Okay.
So definitely, this is what we are seeing now. Digital trend continuing, but still the importance of having something unique, something you can experience, and still the connection between the client and the product. So is when, the emotions became very important and really the connection with your products.
Okay, absolutely. You mentioned uncertainty in the market. Tariffs play into that, obviously. So how have tariffs impacted your U.S. sales strategy and performance? And are there any changes in your approach there?
Well, definitely tariffs are putting some stress on the entire supply chain and in our bottom line. Right now, we are waiting for, there was an agreement that was reached between Europe and the US. Nevertheless, we still don't have the executive details on the implementation.
Okay.
And as you know, Europe is made by independent countries. So we are waiting for the, let's say, one-on-one negotiations between the US and the States to have visibility. We play according to the news we get on the market. As I said before, trying to be nimble. We hope on some good news.
Yes, absolutely. You and all the other automakers.
I think we are all pretty much together in this one.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And going back to the dealers, what kind of feedback are you getting from them, especially in recent months, about the state of the business?
State of the business, all two dealers, they have a lot of pressure. There is a lot of competition. So the uncertainty affects OEM dealers. Competition is fierce. All manufacturers have wonderful products, but that's the reason why I said it's really important for me to work with my dealers, trying to help them to reduce costs to get the right information, training and coaching about products, consumer journey and sales experience, and delivering the right products in a timely manner. So it's a whole combination. To me, dealers are my first clients and there's to be partners. Without my dealers, I can't reach my clients, so my final clients.
Right,
so
right.
it's really important to have an open conversation and to be next to each other.
Are there any new products coming to the U.S. soon?
Come to see me soon.
Okay, soon. I like that. How has the Great Collie you mentioned a little bit performed in the U.S. and which variant is selling the most?
Right now is the GT or the Bodena? Right now, it is the Bodena that is selling the most.
Okay.
It's our, I would like to call, most accessible model.
Okay.
And it still delivers a full Maserati experience in terms of design, performance, versatility, space. So we are fairly satisfied with the performance. And definitely it's our best-selling model right now. Basically, it replaced the Levante in terms of best-selling model.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because we just phased out the Levante, as you know.
That's Daily Drive for today. I'm Kellen Walker. Thanks to Automotive News executive producer Jake Neer, as well as our own John Irwin for his reporting for today's podcast. You can get the latest news on luxury brands, suppliers, and everything happening in the auto industry at autonews.com. Come back tomorrow for a conversation with Trisha Johnson, head of design for EV startup Slate.
It absolutely had to be both really, really low cost and really, really something people would want, something people would feel truly proud of. That's actually why I signed on as a designer, because so often one or the other of those would get left behind.
We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you think of the show and the topics we covered today. Send us an email at dailydrive@autonews.com or leave us a voicemail at 313-444-2774. And if you enjoy the podcast, remember to like, leave a review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.